Hi, my name is Scott Barney, and I've chosen to do my second presentation on the whistleblower James F. Alderson. Just as a little introduction to Mr. Alderson's story, he was an accountant providing financial management for a rural hospital in Montana. After one of the top administrators of this hospital left, the board of directors thought it would be best to hand the company over to Quorum, which was a large hospital managing corporation. A few months after the transition, one of these top administrators of Quorum approached Mr. Alderson and asked that he would prepare two separate cost reports recording different expenses and reporting them to the federal government different than would be recorded on their books. Mr. Alderson was very taken back by this request and even told this administrator that he had never prepared two tax returns for a client before when he was an accountant, and that he would not be preparing two cost reports now for this company. Because of his refusal, he was dismissed a few days later, and eventually, after leaving the company, Mr. Alderson filed a wrongful termination lawsuit and also a qui tam fraud lawsuit under the federal whistleblowing laws. Now let's analyze Mr. Alderson's situation in accordance with the steps given in Chapter 4 of our book. Step 1. He did not have to really approach an immediate manager because he didn't have the opportunity to do so. He was dismissed before he was able to begin on that step. Step 2, however, he was able to discuss the situation with his family. He decided to file a wrongful termination lawsuit. And also under Step 2 in the book, it emphasizes the need to gather information and documentation. He did that by demanding copies of reserve reports and also other related documents to move forward with a lawsuit. Step 3, he didn't really have to take it to the next level within the organization because he was not with the organization anymore, but he did realize that he could take his lawsuit to another level, that he would be able to not only file this wrongful termination suit, but that he could now file a fraud lawsuit on behalf of the federal government. Under Step 4, he didn't have a corporate ethics officer to report to. However, he was able to investigate federal whistleblowing laws, and in connection with Step 3, he recognized that this fraud case would fall under the federal whistleblowing laws and that he would be able to benefit from the outcome of this lawsuit. Under Step 5, he didn't really have to consider going outside his chain of command because he did not have that anymore. However, in the book it emphasizes here the need to consult with a personal lawyer and get that documentation in order for further proceedings. Mr. Alderson did this by hiring a high-profile lawyer who had experience in Medicare fraud, and also hired a former Medicare auditor to help him out with the proceedings. He also was receiving all that documentation that he had demanded from his wrongful termination suit. He began analyzing it. He began preparing spreadsheet after spreadsheet to prepare and have the needed documentation to move forward with a lawsuit. Steps 6 and 7 don't really apply necessarily to Mr. Alderson in this case because all of the proceedings happened outside of the company, and he never really had that opportunity or need to leave the company because he was dismissed earlier. And in conclusion, just to show the outcome of Mr. Alderson's story and situation, the case remained sealed for nearly 6 years under federal investigation, after which time the federal government announced that they would be joining Mr. Alderson in carrying out lawsuits against some of the largest hospital corporations in America. Now, Mr. Alderson was very organized in his approach to this, and he was very organized and prepared in his documentation and also in the personnel support that he was able to acquire. Also, he followed the proper U.S. channels for filing these lawsuits and in the right order. And because of his efforts, Mr. Alderson received $20 million as part of this lawsuit settlement. This is my presentation on the whistleblower James F. Alderson. Thank you very much.